Good morning. This is Beverly.
Beverly Leonard here.
I didn't get no budgets or anything from the VA, the veteran. FYI.
Okay, same here. I didn't get nothing. There's not. I don't know what.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, hello. Delegate Paul Begay calling.
Good morning, Shana. This is Delegate Charles Newton. I'm listening in.
This is
Can someone put their phone?
Leonard, do you have a copy of the VA budgets? I can't seem to find it on my email.
That was from Monday, right? Let me see what I can. Okay, think of what. This is what you send out, so I'll forward it.
Morning.
Leonard,
Yeah.
Delegate Charles Newton called in too just a while ago.
Okay.
For your
All right.
phone call.
Okay.
morning, Leonard. I called in earlier. Delegate Paul Begay.
Oh, morning, sir.
Been-
I'll say Ben. Oh, good morning, Paul.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good to hear everybody.
Morning, Mose. This is Delegate Charles Newton. I'm on. I heard Ramona. I think it was Ramona that said that I was on.
All right, man. Chair, thank you.
I found the email. I'll send it out again.
All right. I just sent you what you had out.
Can you
earlier.
send it to me as well?
Yep. Hey, this is Delegate Delegate Daniel So.
Morning, sir.
Yapiche. Adoche. Salvagay, I heard you on the line. Adoche Ezra. Eugenia Charles Newton. Ms. Martinez, let's be sure and have OMB back on the line as well as OOC.
This is Delegate Slater. I'm finally on. Thank you.
Oh, good. Good to hear you. Good to hear everybody.
Delegate Slater, I can text you. Have you been getting my text?
Sorry, who's this?
Delegate Charles Newton.
No, I haven't been getting a text. Let me restart my phone.
Delegate Charlene So.
Thank you, Honorable So. Here to hear you.
Yeah, it's a busy early. So we've got Honorable Paul Begay, Honorable Carl Slater, yourself, and myself. We got quorum, but I think we're still trying to get other support staff on the call also. OOC and OMB. I don't know if Veterans Administration Director is on the call yet either.
Mr. Chair, I don't have a phone number to contact Mr. Zerline or Zerline.
Okay.
Purnell contacted him last time requesting for the budgets. Is Purnell online?
Hello, I'm online now.
Purnell, I don't have Mr. Z's phone number. Can you assist?
Okay, what are you doing now? I just got on.
We need the director on for VA.
You need his number?
Brother, this is Delegate Charles Newton. I just texted him.
Tell everybody the number so we can have it. Good morning, it's not us.
Give me a second, I'll look it up here.
Director's Warline.
Oh, come on. Okay, are we ready for the number?
Oh,
928-955-3947. Just text it to us, okay?
Mr. Chair, this is Director's Warline. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay, I'm on the call, sir.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like we've got 5 members present. So at this time, I'll call the, let's see, I'm trying to find that. I'll call the Health, Education, Human Services Committee Oversight Budget Hearing Revisit. Call the hearing to order, the meeting to order. Mr. Mose, can you provide the roll call?
Yes, sir. Morning, everyone. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay is present.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater present.
Honorable Purnell Halona.
Delegate Hello is present.
Honorable Charlene So.
Present.
Honorable Daniel E. So.
I'm here.
Honorable Edison J. Winika. Here. Chair, we have 5 members, constitute a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, I'd like to call on Honorable Purnell Halona to provide the invocation.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. I guess everybody's going to have bow their head and say your own prayer. Let's move forward from here. Thank you, Jesus. Wonderful day we're having today. Bless us, Lord, for all the wonderful things that we're doing for our people today. Keep us strong, make the right decisions for the people here in our community. We bless all those first responders that are out there taking care of all the people that are sick, afflicted from the virus. And Lord, we thank you all for the things that you have done for us so far. We pray for all our leaders, President of the United States, President of the Navajo Nation, Vice President, all of our council members, that they may all work hard today and do the right things for the Navajo Nation and pass all these budgets to keep us moving forward. We ask that you move forward here today to give us the strength and resilience to move forward and continue to help all of our people. We thank you, Lord, for all the wonderful blessings of the day. We thank you for the rainstorms that we've been getting, keeping us warm, keeping us safe. Lord, we ask that you comfort all of those who have lost their loved ones, comfort all of those who are sick, keep their families strong, moving forward. We ask all these blessings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you for the prayer. Let's go to, and let the record show that Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton is on the call as well. Announcements, committee members. If there are none, then committee members, we have before us a revised agenda and Miss Martinez, can you provide us the review on number 2 of our proposed agenda?
Good morning. Agenda of the Health, Education, Human Services Committee, 24th Navajo Nation Council Oversight Budget Hearing Revisit, August 27, 9 a.m. Presiding Honorable Daniel So, Chairperson. Honorable Carla Russell Slater, Vice Chairperson, Place Viva Telecommunications, Window Rock, Navajo Nation, Arizona. 1, call meeting to order, roll call, invocation, announcements. 2, review and adopt the agenda. 3, oversight budget hearings. A, legislation 0173-20 revisits and acceptance of Navajo Nation Veterans Administration FY 2021 budget. B, legislation 0176-20 revisits and acceptance of Division of Social Services fiscal year 2021 budget. 4, close of meeting, announcements, adjournment. Mr. Chair, the agenda has been read into the record.
Thank you, Simba. Committee members, what are the wishes of the committee regarding this?
Motion.
Okay, thank you, Cecilia. Honorable Edison Wanika motions to adopt the agenda. Do I hear
Second, Delegate Paul Begay.
Second by Mr. Che. Honorable Paul Begay. Committee members, are there any discussion regarding the agenda as motion? If not, then Mr. Mose, let's do the roll call vote, adopt the agenda.
All right, sir. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Paul Begay votes green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Carl Russell Slater.
Slater green.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater votes green. Honorable Pernell Helona.
Oh, I vote green.
Honorable Pernell Helona votes green. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Green. Honorable Edison J. Wanika votes green. Last call, Honorable Charlene So. Chair had a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, thank you. Let the record show a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed. The chair not voting. Let's go to item number 3, oversight budget hearing revisit. A, legislation 173-20. Committee members, this was tabled on Monday, August 24, and the revisit was scheduled for today. Before I call it to the table, or a motion to put it back on the table, Ms. Chief Legislative Counsel, are you on the call?
Good morning. This is Dana. I am on the call. I am not quite in my office yet. I don't have the agenda in front of me for about a minute, but what can I do for you, Chair?
Okay, we had tabled 0173-20, and I guess the main thing is I had some questions regarding the Veterans Act before I called for the committee to put this legislation back on the table.
Okay. I'm ready. What can I answer?
Okay. On Monday, there was some reference, and I can't remember which of our people that were on the call, whether it was OOC or OMB, that made reference that under the Veterans Act, it talked about chapter allocation. And I'm wondering if that is applicable to this particular legislation.
Chair, could you restate? There was about a sentence in there that kind of out. Stated it was all I heard was under Veterans Act, and then it kind of went blank.
Okay, I'll sit up straight and project my voice then.
Thank you.
Your ladder, Dad.
On Monday's discussion, and I can't remember which of the staff that was on the call made reference to the Veterans Act and cited a portion that said something about chapter allocation, a 50-50 chapter allocation. And I'm wondering if this, within this Veterans Administration budget, that particular aspect of the Veterans Act applies. I don't don't know if it's within the Veterans Act or within, and that's the part.
Okay. Thank you. I'm looking through Kristen's notes. I'm not finding anything specifically there, but if Owen's on the line, maybe they can help me get into the right direction.
Ms. Martinez, which staff was from OMB was the one that helped us in the OMB presentation on Monday?
Mr. Chair, it was Emmett Francis, and I contacted Bobby Batilli just a while ago before, and he was going to let him know. I did deliver that message.
And then Mr. Willie was from OOC. Am I correct?
I need to contact them again too as well. Let me call them again. I need to go offline briefly.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Emmett Francis from OMB. I'm on the line.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for getting back on the call. I haven't, on our agenda, we adopted the agenda, but I haven't called legislation 013-20 back for a motion to take it from the table and put it back before the committee. The basic question is, there was reference about a 50-50 chapter allocation. My question is it within the Veterans Act or was it in the plan of operation? That's the basic question I have. And I can't remember if it was yourself or Mr. Willie from OOC that made reference to that.
Mr. Chair, as you know, the budget that was submitted by the Veterans Administration, they consolidated all the 110 chapters into 5 agency budgets. That's what happened now. The committee, I guess, is concerned about whether that can be done or not. I don't have any piece of document that says either way. The director has told me that he can do the budget any way he wants to, and that he has that written somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I had also advised before that we need to check with Controller's Office and DOJ to make sure that the allocation of the trust funds for the chapters are done in a certain way. And I believe there is some legislation that might say how those funds are supposed to be allocated. But I haven't found anything. One of our problems here at OMB is we moved from the main administration building went over to the Navajo Nation Museum, and we can't get access to some of the documents that we had over there in that building. It's a very hard process to get any access to anything over there. You can't even go walk in there. So that's one of the problems I have in trying to see if there's any documentation over there. Whatever little we brought over here, it's basically just for everyday use stuff. So I'm more dependent on the attorneys to find out whether there is any language anywhere that says how the distribution is supposed to be made. But according to the director, he's saying that it says somewhere that he determines how the distribution is supposed to be made. So that's basically it as far as what we know from OMB. Thank you.
Chair, this is Ms. Bob Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. Go ahead, Ms. Bob Ross.
Are we talking about what's in Veterans Trust Fund? Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about general something else? Because I have I have the trust fund statute in front of me. I believe I have the current version. But if we are talking about something else, that would be helpful. And I am trying to get the DOJ's attorney on the line, but I have not had that.
Yes, Ms. Bob Ross. The way I understand it, the budget comes from the Veterans Trust Fund to be able to be allocated in previous years to the 50/50 formula chapter allocation.
Okay. So thank you, Chair. So I am looking at the amendment to the Navajo Veterans Trust Fund put forth in DS 4813. To the best of my knowledge, that is the last amendment to the trust fund. If I am incorrect, somebody please, Mr. Zerline, please tell me, is CS 4813 the last amendment to the trust fund?
To my knowledge, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I could not hear. I'm presuming that was a yes. That's the best I heard.
Yes.
That was the last. And so I'm going to read you. I'm sorry it'll be boring, but I would like everybody here, including OMB and DOJ, if DOJ has gotten on the line. So in CS 4813, it states the Navajo Nation Veterans Trust Fund established. The Navajo Nation Veterans Trust Fund, and after Trust Fund, is established with an initial appropriation of $6 million from revenues from the undesignated tribal reserve. Each year during the appropriation of the Navajo Nation comprehensive budget, the Navajo Nation Council shall budget a sum equal to at least 4% of any and all projected revenues of the Navajo Nation, including but not limited to revenues received from taxes, oil and gas, mining and mineral spur, land rentals, interest and dividends, gain on sale of securities, and other revenue-producing activities. 1/2 of that 4% shall be transferred to the Navajo Nation's trust fund to be used as set forth herein. The remaining 1/2 of that 4% shall be administered by the Department of Navajo Nation Veterans Affairs, which has since been changed, but each of the 5 agency offices shall be allocated an equal share of that amount to provide construction of up to 15 homes equitably in each of their respective agencies using all possible assistance program funds that such veterans may qualify for to construct as many homes as possible and provide minor home and repairs for Navajo Nation veterans. B, the annual appropriation authorized above shall continue and shall not, and for purposes of this resolution, all expended funds shall not lapse. So the actual question of whether it has to be distributed under the 50/50 formula is not addressed in actually in the statute. So other than say that the 1/2 of the 4% is allocated equally to the 5 agents. Chair, this is very confusing to me. I apologize I didn't get a heads up on this. I would really like to see if I cannot get DOJ on the phone, because I'm sure they are more versed at the program level in this than I am. Is it possible you could give me 5 or 10 minutes and then I will be back on?
Yes, Ms. Bob Roth. Based on the committee members, it sounds like this budget should also include housing allocation to the 5 agents.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is Janet McCabe with the Office of Management and Budget.
Yes.
Mr. Francis was referencing to a statutory plan of operation number CS-48-13 that was adopted in 2013. According to this resolution, this was related to the Health, Education, and Human Services Budget and Finance Law and Order and the NABI Committee to amend the Navajo Nation Veterans Trust Fund 12 NC Subchapter 1171, and this is to provide equal distribution of the annual comprehensive budget amount between the Navajo Nation Veterans Trust Fund and the Department of Veterans Affairs to construct up to 15 homes and provide minor renovation and repairs for the Navajo veterans in each of the 5 agencies. And it lists the agency in account N01296, N01297, N01298, N01299 and N01300 Navajo Veterans Housing Program. And that's what the legislation cites, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Delegate, Mr. Chair, this is Dana again. What McCabe was referencing to you is what I just read you. We were both looking at the same resolution, the same statute. The one thing, though, that I am not finding, I have the resolution in front of me, and I am not finding the reference to account numbers or business unit numbers. Ms. McCabe, where is that? That might be helpful.
I'm finding it in the plan of operation for the resolution number CS-48-13, and this is assigned to the N01XXX Department of Navajo Veterans Affairs. This is not attached to the general fund business units that begin with 103, 015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It has nothing to do with those business units. This is the so I believe that's where the confusion is it's happening, and when Mr. Francis mentioned that language, it just confused everyone.
Okay, it's I guess what I'm getting is that this budget and legislation needs further work. And we tabled it once, and that was, I guess, my initial inclination that there was still some unanswered questions, and so that's how come I haven't called for the motion to bring it to the back to the table. Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
Could you what you relayed to the committee? Could you put it in an email?
Yes.
So that we have a better picture on it, and then that way we know what we're to be looking for. And it just sounds to me, committee members, that this budget also has to have the housing allocation to the 5 agencies, and what's before us doesn't have. But to give Ms. Bobroff time to consult with DOJ, the chair will call for a 10-minute recess, and we can then reconvene at 10 a.m.
Mr. Chair, who do I send
Yes,
this email to?
All the committee members, as well as Ms. Martinez and Ms. Bobroff.
Okay, Beverly, Ms. Martinez, can you give me those email addresses while we are on break?
Okay.
You can email it to me, then I'll send it out.
Okay,
And
what is your email?
B Martinez at Navajo-NSN.gov.
Okay, I will do that right now.
Mr. Zhao, this is Delegate Charles Newton. Could I also get a copy of that as well? Sent to my address.
Yes, Ms. Martinez, include the chair, Eugenia Charles Newton.
Okay, I will.
Kiss, I'm on the line too, Eugene. So.
Oh, Siate, Sile, and Ms. Martinez. It seems like let's just send it to the 24th Navajo Nation Council, because the other day Miss Delegate Amber Knezbot Crotty also had concerns about the veterans budget at that time. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Thank you, Ms. McCabe. Committee members will go into recess now.
In class.
Recess. I think you lost 10 minutes.
Like I had to leave because I had to get on another telephone conference. And then about 10 minutes before the other call, and then the other recess day. No, I don't say either.
Just a question on they haven't called the subject back on the table. Table yet because of questions in regarding to that equal distribution and resolution TM 4813 trust fund that where 2% goes to housing, 2% goes to operation. they're citing that, questioning the shoreline. 그래서 나서 우리가 다시 배ሾ했니? 내전네.
Yeah, I heard that one.
They're trying to see if it does have authority to do that. I think that's what they're looking for. There's nothing in writing that says I can't do what I'm doing. So he has doing his homework with DOJ Chris Schneider. That's what it boils down to. But I think what's going to happen is in the Veterans Act, it does stipulate under duties and responsibilities that they have to work with the CO.
Whoever's speaking, everyone can hear you.
Hello?
Hope, this is Pete. How long is the recess?
To the top of the hour.
Okay. Okay, committee members, 10:02 on my phone.
Mr. Chair, I have not received that document from Ms. McCabe yet, so it's not emailed yet, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All righty. We'll wait a few more minutes.
Because it's political, and then they might say, oh, so where are you getting your money to pay her, even though it's none of their business.
How is she paid? Is that the domestic violence? Yes.
Bob Roth, are you ready to give advice to the committee?
This is Delegate Slater back on the line. Is anyone else on here?
I'll get back on too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Committee members?
Delegate So.
Oh, is it? Anybody else? Okay. I guess the main thing is I'm kind of still waiting for Ms. Barbara to give us some direction. Like I said, I sure hate to table it again and then the budget doesn't go anywhere. But I want to be clear that we're following the act.
Delegate So, Chair, can I offer an amendment?
Honorable Vice Chair, we haven't put the legislation back on the table yet. This was, I wanted to make sure we had clear direction before I brought it back to the table. So,
understood.
The question I posed to Legislative Council is the 50-50 formula mandated by the Veterans Act or within the plan of operation. But in some of ONB's guidance, the budget should also include the allocation to the agencies for the housing. And right now, that particular aspect of the budget isn't included or isn't part of what Director Swerline has presented to the committee. So that's the part I think we will need further work.
Chair, this is Ms. Bob Roth. Apologies for interrupting. It sounded like you were taking a there was a small break there. I have managed to speak with the Department of Justice, and they will be getting on the line. I think that we've got, I did some research from your question on questions from Monday. Your question from Monday, restated as I understand it, is, well, you know what? I should stop for a second, and please forgive my rudeness, Chair. Would you like me to just tell you what I've learned so far, or would you like me to wait till I've actually been called on?
Yes, we're still in recess. I haven't called it back to order, but
okay.
Go ahead and we have 5 members of the committee back on the line. We're all, I guess, in either deep thought or on how to best proceed. But go ahead, Ms. Bob Roth.
Okay. Thank you, and I will tell you what I have learned. And as I said, I was able to speak with DOJ briefly, and they will most probably be on the line.
Barbara.
My understanding is that the question from Monday had to do with financial assistance, and that financial assistance comes through the Veterans Trust Fund. There are policy procedures for the financial assistance. They were recently adopted by the Health Committee, back in January of 2020. And as far as financial assistance goes, in short, the financial assistance, it is allocated through the Veterans Administration. The assistance goes to individual Navajo veterans and other of the eligible individuals. So it is not allocated to the basis for allocation, not the chapter. So it's not the 50-50 formula. The basis is for allocation is the number of veterans that can be identified in the chapter. So let me say the best way to understand the reason, I believe, behind that is that the 50-50 formula is based on the number of registered voters. Well, that's not the number of registered voters. The chapter is not going to correspond or reflect the number of veterans in a chapter. So that's why that 50-50 formula is not applicable here. It looks at 12 NE 1176B that allows formula to distribute to the veterans organizations, and that formula is not based on 50-50 formula. It is a formula developed by the Veterans Administration to be reflective of the number of veterans in a particular chapter, or the projected number of veterans. So the answer that I come up with, the first question, is as far as whether financial assistance needs to be distributed under the 50-50 formula. I do not believe it does. I do not believe that the 50-50 formula set out in the Appropriations Act applies to the veteran financial assistance. I want to stop now and ask if DOJ is on the line.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and Ms. Bobroff, I'm on the line. This is Mel Rodas from DOJ. Good morning.
So, just to move things quickly, I will, if you will allow me, I will ask DOJ whether they think that the 50-50 chapter formula set forth in the Appropriations Act apply to the distribution of financial assistance from the Navajo Nation Veterans Trust Fund.
Mr. Chair, may I proceed?
Mr. Rodas, go ahead. Thank you for being on the call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. If you look at 12 NNC 820-0, that has to do with distributions to chapters. And I'll just read from it briefly. Where not otherwise prohibited by existing law, any appropriation intended for distribution to all chapters of the Navajo Nation shall be allocated as follows. And then it goes on. So Ms. Bobroff is correct that this is not a distribution to all chapters. This is, these are funds from the Veterans Trust Fund that are allocated to NNVA for the purpose of providing assistance to veterans, and the money flows through the chapter veterans organizations. And it's interesting, but the chapter veterans organizations are not actually part of the chapter. It's kind of unusual, but the money is not going to the chapters. The chapter veterans organizations are assisting NNVA in terms of processing requests for assistance from veterans, and then the money flows through the chapter veterans organizations to the individual veterans who are receiving the assistance. So 12 NNC 820-0, the 50-50 formula does not apply because the money is not going to chapters, Mr. Chair.
Okay. But under last year's budget, there is quote unquote chapter allocation, and that's within the OMB report. And there are pre-existing balances. And one of the chapters was cited to have over $107,000 in financial assistance. So what was the previous basis for that chapter allocation? And again, it's not tied to the chapters, but the chapters are named, and the actual financial assistance are chapter veterans groups basically enact a resolution or an action, and that's presented to the Veterans Office. And based on that, then checks are distributed. So that, in effect, the assistance aspect, chapters are listed within previous appropriations. And so that's the dilemma that we're facing right now.
Mr. Chair, this is Mel again.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the January 2020 resolution from the committee, or passed by the committee, it actually gives authority to the NNVA to designate what the formula is, to designate the distribution formula. So that was the delegation of authority that the committee made. And so NNVA has changed the formula because, and I think Mr. Zorline is on the line, so he can explain much better than me because I wasn't involved in this. But as Ms. Bobroff said, the formula is more fair if it's based on the number of veterans in an agency as opposed to the number of registered voters, because the number of registered voters doesn't correlate to the number of veterans. But the key is that the Hess resolution did designate that authority to NNVA to determine what the distribution formula is. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Barbara.
Yes. So I appreciate DOJ being on the line. I think he explained it perhaps better than I can, or I did. But now your question as to how last year's funds were distributed to the chapters and such, I would have to defer to O&B. My question, I guess, to O&B would be whether they included in their review this year and such, if they included the TETU resolution 0320, which that was just approved in January of 2020. So that was after last year's budget obviously was done. So that be a reason why the distributions are different from last year to this year. But I would have to defer to them. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. The other question is, in the Act, it talks about half of 4% housing. I think it refers to housing construction shall be distributed to the agencies. And right now the question is, the budget that's presented does not include that particular budget presentation. All we have is the assistant at the agencies and what's personnel at the Veterans Administration budget all at the central office.
Chair, if that question was directed to Office of Legislative Counsel, I can only tell you that I am looking at the budget forms that I have been provided. Although I would like to point out, I do not have a copy of Owen's report. If that could be forwarded to me, please. But I am looking at the exhibits or the budget documents that I have, and I do see a housing budget for each of the 5 agencies. So I'm presuming that the committee has the same documents that I do. Chair, thank you.
And for me, I thought that was the financial assistant.
The document
and that's what I perceived when Mr. Swerline presented to the committee on Monday.
Chair, given the fact that there's been confusion and there is been a time lapse, before you call legislation up, I believe if you would like perhaps OMB and the Veterans Administration Director can quickly walk through the various budget documents and tell you where housing is for, and then where financial assistance is set forth, just as a summary basis, so everybody can understand that. And then when you call up the legislation, you can actually get into the details. That's my best suggestion, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, committee members, in that regard, as what Ms. Bobroff has recommended, the chair then would be open to suspending the rules to amend the agenda to one rehear from OMB and OOC regarding number one, the financial assistance at the agencies and the housing assistance at the agencies.
Chair Wanika?
Yes.
Delegate Second Slater.
Go ahead, Cecilia.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make a motion, but I think there's still concerns and a lot of questions. Because on Exhibit A, we're talking about trust funds and also the housing fund. And I think to some extent we're kind of mixing it up. I think we need to separate the two, because I know the trust funds really belongs to the Veterans Organization at the chapter level. And but the problem with that is the distribution. Most of the time it's been distributed by the 50-50 formula. But when it comes to the chapter, the distribution belongs to the Veterans Organization, the chapter. But sometimes they have more funds or less funds because of the 50-50 formula. Those are the things that we need to get situated. And I guess, but I think Mr. Sorline has been really working on that. And I think it would be good to get more information from him and also Dana. And I was thinking maybe what we need to do is just make some directives. And maybe just keep it tabled until Monday, and maybe get a short, go into a short work session so that they can go item by item and really let us know about the trust funds and also the housing funds. Because I was thinking that the Veterans Organization was trying to use the housing fund to put it into hardship for assistance. But that sounds like that's not the case. So that's the reason why we need to get additional information on this so that we can make the proper decision. If we just go ahead and approve it today, I think there's still going to be some questions. So that's what I was thinking, if it's possible, just to leave it tabled until Monday. And between now and then, maybe Mr. Sorloin and Dana can get together and get a lot of these questions and whatever questions that we have today. Maybe based on that, give us a short presentation on Monday. Chair, I don't know.
Okay. Again, thank you, Cecilia. Regarding that particular item, I won't entertain the motion to bring it off the table. So we'll leave it tabled based on Honorable Wanika's comment. Committee members, we're in agreement, then we'll leave it tabled. But at this point in time, just the actual directives, DOJ, OLC, OMB, and Mr. Schwerlein to come with some clear recommendations on how to best proceed in the Veterans Administration budget. Because if we don't fix it here, then it's going to be a big issue at BNF and even at council. So it's best that we take our best shot at it here at the committee. So with that, the chair will not call the item back. Does the directive need to have a motion and a second and a vote of the committee? I guess part of it, committee members, I failed to call the meeting back to order after the recess. Mr. Mose, roll call to establish quorum, and then we'll look at that motion.
All right, sir. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay is present.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater present.
Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Charlene So.
In favor.
Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Here. Chair, we have 4 members.
Okay, including myself.
5, yes, sir.
Okay, so we have quorum, and we'll call the meeting back to order. Based on that, committee members and Honorable Wanika, what you had presented during the recess, could you put that in a motion for the directive for the so that the committee can proceed on legislation 0173-20?
Okay, thank you, Chair and members of the committee. I was just concerned about the discussion we're having in reference to the Veterans Administration, and there's still a lot of questions and concerns relating to the budget of the administration and then also the trust fund. And I think we need to understand completely 2 separate budgets. And so I guess if we wanted to, we could go ahead and discuss the administration's budget, because I think as far as the trust fund, that's where we start to get a lot of concerns as far as the distribution that happens at the chapter.
Brother, good morning. Good morning, brother. Hold there.
Please silence your cell phones. Please mute your phones.
So, but I think that's one of the things that really needs to be clarified. And so that's the reason why I was saying, instead of taking this off the table, just leave it table until Monday. And then maybe Monday we can get a short work session or a short presentation from the executive director and then also our chief legislative counsel, and then OMB and other programs that are directly involved with the Veterans Administration, so we can get a clear idea of exactly where these funds are situated, and then also the allocation process. And maybe that will make it easier for us to make a better decision on this particular item. And because it seems like when we just base it on the budget that we have, sometimes we don't get the clarification on how these monies are being distributed.
That'll be your motion?
Yes.
Okay, committee members, do I have a second on that?
Delegate Paul Begay.
Second, Delegate Slater.
Okay, we have, I'll recognize Honorable Paul Begay's second, and the close second is Honorable Vice Chair. So it's pretty clear what the motion is about. So, Mr. Mose.
All right, sir. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay will vote 3.
Paul Begay Jr. votes 3. Honorable Carl Russell Slater. Honorable Carl Russell Slater. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Charlene So.
In favor.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Jay Wanika. Honorable Jay Wanika votes green. Carl Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater green.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater. Chair, 4 in favor, 0 opposed.
Mr. Mose, what was the vote?
4 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, no vote from Halona?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Delegate Halona is at the hospital appointment.
Okay. Committee members, let the record show a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and the chair not voting on a directive to Veterans Administration, DOJ, OLC, and OMB, and OOC to come up with some recommendations on how to best proceed with the Veterans Housing budget, as well as the Navajo Nation Veteran Administration budget. Okay, so we go We go next to addressing the 3B, legislation 01676-20, a revisit of the acceptance of Division of Social Services fiscal year 2021 budget. Ms. Martinez, when the committee voted to table 0176, you please provide the committee the aspect for the tabling.
Legislation 0176-20 was tabled until Thursday. The committee wanted more time to look over the exhibit. Please note, Exhibit F is a made-up exhibit. If the committee wants to leave in this exhibit in the budget, legislation would need to be amended to reflect that, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Legislative concerns not addressed, unmet needs not addressed, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Martinez. Committee members?
Yes, I want to listen in on the meeting.
Committee members, how do you wish to proceed on 0176? It's been tabled. Do you want to recall now?
No, just
continuation.
Okay, somebody's talking over the committee members. Was that Honorable Charlene So? Or Honorable Carl Slater? I thought I heard your voice there too.
It was Delegate Slater on the question regarding other. It sounds like we're going to be recalling veterans on Monday. Is that an option for social services, or?
That certainly can be.
Okay.
That certainly can be, Honorable Slater. If you still have concerns about that particular, the reasons for the tabling to review the extensive items within Division of Social Services budget and committee members.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
The person who just said that's fine, I'm okay. Can you please mute your phone? You're interrupting a Navigation Council meeting. Chair, the reason I wanted to take some further time is to think about any sort of synergies we might have with the remaining CARES Act funding. And I haven't been able to pull together all the pieces to try and make that happen. If the committee would indulge me, I'd make that request. But otherwise, those concepts could always be added at NABI or full council later on. Maybe that's more appropriate. So I'll defer to the committee and how they'd like to proceed. But some of the ideas are related to assistance for our shelters, housing assistance for people who are experiencing violence at this time. Maybe it could be administered by the program or through third parties. And some of this may be eligible under the CARES Act, and I'm just trying to hone down what should be appropriated via general funds as opposed to direct CARES appropriation, or what makes sense to be appropriated from general funds and then reimbursed later. So just to reiterate, I'll defer to the committee. And I do think there were a couple items that Ms. Martinez read off in terms of unmet needs and other portions that we could discuss today, or we could wait until Monday. Thank you.
Committee members, you've heard the Honorable Vice Chair's thoughts on 0176. What does the committee wish to do?
Okay, thank you.
Committee members, I'm still on the line. Anybody else still on the line?
I'm here, Sinai.
Oh.
I wonder if we're having that technical difficulty issue with the individuals who are in the Budget and Finance Committee room.
Chairman, so this is Sherilyn Yazzie with Office of the Speakers. I'm on the line as well.
Thank you. Honorable Paul
Eugene Show still on the line.
Oh, Honorable Paul Begay, Honorable Edison Wanika.
I'm here.
Okay. What are your thoughts on what the Honorable Vice Chair presented as thoughts about deferring this until Monday?
Well, Chair, this is Wanika.
Yes, go ahead.
With that, I have no problems with it, but we're having a special meeting on Monday. If the special meeting is a short meeting, then I don't have any problems with it. Because I think with the veterans, there just needs to be a lot of clarification. And I think once we get those clarifications, I think we can make a decision on that. On this one, if it's the same way, then with me, I don't have any problems with it, what the Vice Chair wants. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then,
go ahead.
Why don't we recall it and get it done today? and the things that I want to worry about, we'll worry about later. So I'll motion to recall the legislation as Delegate Slater. My request, though, is to our advisor to, I know we had issues with the budget documents because the ones that are attached to the legislation on DIB don't seem to be exhaustive or complete. So I'm trying to pull it back up again from my emails.
And
I'm
that
having
was
difficulty
part of the reason for tabling was to have OMB numbers and social services number be coincidental, be matching. So that I hope that has occurred. So
it's really incumbent upon the program.
Yeah.
If that's the motion of the Vice Chair, I'll second it.
Okay. I accept the motion to recall 0176-20, motion by Honorable Carl Slater, second by Honorable Edison Winika. Mr. Mose, roll call vote.
All right, sir. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay will vote.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Carl Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater, green.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater votes green. Honorable Pernell Halota.
One vote green.
Honorable Pernell Halota votes green. Honorable Charlene So.
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Edison J. Winika. Green. Honorable Edison J. Winika votes green. Chair, I vote of 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. Let the record show a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. The chair not voting. Legislation 0176 is back on the table for deliberations. Could we have an update from OMB, and if OOC is on the line, seek their input, and then, of course, Division Director Diana Neswit-Gishi.
OMB present.
Thank you. Is Ms. Gishi on the line?
Yes, good morning, Delegate Chair and members of the Health, Education, Human Services Committee. I am here, Deanna Neswit-Gishi, as well as other team members. Thank you.
Okay. In the reason we tabled was there was some differences in the budget numbers. Has that been corrected between OMB and the division?
This is not Division of Health.
Division of Social Services.
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi with Division of Social Services. I haven't read the budget into the record yet, so we didn't make any changes, Chair.
Ms. Martinez, could you provide us the update of what the committee did with 0176?
The committee wanted more time to overlook the exhibits. Exhibit F is a made-up exhibit. If the committee wants to leave this exhibit in, legislation needs to be amended to reflect that. Legislative concerns not addressed, unmet needs not addressed. Mr. Chair.
Did we even get as Ms. Brenda Sosi said, did we even get the budget read into the record? Exhibit A.
Let me check my records. Hold on. Leonard, can you check your records too? At the same time, I'm looking through my files. I'm having laptop problems. My computer's going in and out. Leonard, do you have anything on your files?
I just emailed you the 2 sets that you sent me. One was OMB's report and Social Services budget. That was like 60-some pages, so I don't know if that's what you're looking for. That's the only 2 I have from you from Monday. I just emailed those 2 to you a while ago. I don't know if that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Chair, there was no motion and no second on this legislation, and then it was tabled by Carl Slater to review Thursday, and other questions on OMB presentation, Mr. Chair. Then there was a motioning table. So the legislation was not, the legislation was not accepted. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It was motioned by Paul Begay Jr. and Pernell Halota. So the legislation was read into the record. And then it was tabled before they got to the budgets, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
This is Delegate Slater. Can I ask a question of OMB if they're on the line and maybe they could gather these documents, Chair? Can I, Chair So, are you there?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. go ahead, Honorable Vice Chair. Ask your question.
Thank you. I apologize. I couldn't catch the name of the individual who's on right now. But the question is, can you email out to the committee a reversion report for the past year for the division?
Thank you, Honorable Slater. Ms. Martinez, can you resend the Division of Social Services budget? I'm trying to find it. And
Brenda Sosi, can you re-email those again? Thank you. From Social Services, Brenda Sosi, re-email the budget.
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi. I will resend it now.
okay, I got the 8th Honorable Slater when he forwarded the FY 2021 budget, page 160. Ms. Sosi, since the legislation's back on the table, can you review the budget form 1?
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, budget form 1, I will read into the record for business unit number 117001, General Funds, Office of the Executive Director, budget. Part 2, the funding sources, the overall amount is $160,395,457. Part 2, budget summary, column A. This is the original budget from FY 2020 is $1,675,543. The budget for fiscal year 2021 is, column B is $1,675,553. Column $53. Column C, there is no difference. Part 4, positions and vehicle, column D for fiscal year 2020 was 12. Total number of positions budgeted, column D, 12. For 2020-2021, column E is 11. Total number of assigned vehicles, column A is 4 for fiscal year 2020. For fiscal year 2021, column E is 4. Mr. Chair, that is budget form 1.
Continue.
Okay, as we go on to the next budget form 2, part 1, this is for business unit 117001, General Funds, Office of the Executive Director. The program performance criteria, 1, goal statement, ensure programs are in compliance with human resource guidelines and fill all vacant positions. Program performance measure, the executive will review all programs' human resources functions. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, they're all at 6. Number 2, goal statement, coordinate and enhance collaboration with Navajo Nation, federal, state, and other entities to improve services to clients. Program performance measure, the executive will attend consultations with state, federal agencies, and other agencies. Quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all at 6. Goal statement number 3, improve communications and service delivery by upgrading the IT infrastructure, all service areas. program performance measure, the executive information system staff will review and support 8 programs, departments, and use of technology infrastructure bandwidth improvements and IT recommendations. First, second, third, fourth quarter is all at 6. Number 4, goal statement, expand direct services and increase financial accountability through increased administrative support. Program performance measure, the executive will review program financial management, direct service data. First, second, third, fourth quarter, all at 6. Goal statement number 5, expand direct service and focus on strengthening the family unit and family values. Program performance measure, coordinate and facilitate family-oriented initiatives involving all members of the family, of a family network. First, second, third, fourth quarter, they're all at 6. Going on to budget form 3, the total amount is $596,813.
Miss Sosi, let's just do Form 1 and 2 of each of the programs now.
Okay, Mr. Chair. Going on to Business Unit 117001, Budget Form 1 for General Funds School Clothing Program. And budget on Part 3, Budget Summary, Column A for fiscal year 2020 was $1,172,470. Column B, the proposed budget for 2021 is $1,250,904. Column C, the difference is an increase of $78,434. The positions and vehicles, Part 4, for column D for fiscal year 2020, 0. For fiscal year 2021, B is 5. Total assigned vehicles, column D for 2020 is 0. For column E, for fiscal year 2021 is 0. Going on to Budget Form 2 for Business Unit 117008. First goal statement, serve eligible Navajo children residing on the Navajo Nation with a incentive for clothing and supplies for school. Program performance measure, number of clothing stipends provided per quarter. First, second, third, fourth quarter, all at 1,000. 2, goal statement, serve eligible Navajo children residing on the Navajo Nation with emergency clothing assistance. Program performance measure, number of emergency clothing assistance provided per quarter. 1, 2, 3, and 4 quarters, all at 50. Goal statement 3, submit quarterly reports timely and accurately. Program performance measure, quarterly reports will be submitted after each quarter. First, second, third quarter, it's not applicable. Fourth quarter, there's 1. Goal statement 4, submit an annual report timely and accurately each fiscal year. Program performance measure, annual report will be submitted after fiscal year ends. First, second, third quarter, not applicable, and fourth quarter is 1. 5, goal statement, provide trainings to keep employees and families informed of the eligibility criteria and timelines. Program performance, training provided to staff quarterly. First quarter 1, quarter second, third, and fourth, not applicable. Okay, going on to the Business Unit 117022, Department of Family Services. The budget summary for fiscal year 2020, budget $1,637,570. B, proposed budget for 2021, $1,637,570. C, difference 0. Positions and vehicle, total number of positions budgeted for fiscal year 2020, that's column D, 5. For fiscal year 2021, column E, 19. Total number of permanently assigned vehicles, column D, 15, column E, 15, that's for 2021. Mr. Chair, those are Form 2, Let me go on to the Form 2 for a business unit 117022, Department of Family Services. The program performance criteria, program performance area. 1, to provide protective services to adult and elderly with the family service offices. Goal statement, to conduct risk assessment. First, second, third, fourth quarter, 250, all at 250. Goal statement 2, program performance area, to ensure and safety of adults and elders at each family services office. Goal statement, investigate reports of suspected abuse, neglect, and exploitation. First quarter, second, third, and fourth quarter, all at 300. Program performance area 3, increase staff skills and performance to ensure quality services at all family services office. Goal statements, IDP trainings per quarter. First, second, third, fourth quarter, all at 50. Program performance area number 4, ensure Navajo children remain with their family unit at all family service offices. Goal statement, refer families to family conference and family group conferencing per quarter. First, second, third, fourth quarter, all at 200. 5, program performance area, receive and record all requests for DFS services within the Navajo Nation. Goal statement, receive and record all reports. First, second, third, fourth quarter, all at 450. Mr. Chair, that's all the business units written to the record for Division of Social Services.
Thank you, Ms. Tosi. Committee members, any questions?
Chair, has OMB been able to send out the reversion report?
Honorable Slater, what report again? It kind of went blurry on your voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. The funds reversion report for external grants.
Okay, thank you. Good, sharp eyes. Ms. Sosi, Ms. Diana Neswit-Gishi, or even OMB.
Mr. Chair and committee members, this is Brenda Sosi. On the Form 1 under Business Unit 117001, there's a listing of all the funding sources of the external funding. There's 2 pages to it. That's the one that I was reporting. And what supports this information, let me explain. Part 1 has the funding source and it has general funds and IDC. The second part of it, where it has Department of Interior, calendar year 17, the information that has $37,276 is on Form 6, and it's all in sequence. If you look at page 10 of 44, you will see that the information is provided on that budget Form 6, and it's all in sequence that way, how it's recorded in that budget Form 1. So all of the external funds that we receive under Division of Social Services, it's recorded only under this business unit, which is 117001. Mr. Chair.
Chair, do we still have someone from OMB?
Hello, this is OMB, Selena Begay, Senior
Yes.
Budget Analyst. I just want to let you know on the Form 11, Business Unit 117001, I do oversee that, but just to clarify that, I only take care of general funds and the external part is overseen by Majority with OMB CGS. And if there's any question, he will do that, but I'm not sure if he's on the line.
Is there Mr. Shorty on the line? Mr. Gay, could you nudge him a little bit to get onto the call?
Okay, let me give him the message and let one of them get on the line with you. hold on. Okay, I'll get back with you.
Thank you. And can you express that we need a copy of the reversion report, the most updated one?
Sure, of course. I'll let them know, and I'll get them on the line as well. Committee members, this is Rhonda Johnson from OMB. Could I speak to the FY 2021 Budget Form 2 that was presented by the Division of Social Services?
You certainly can.
Okay, let's go to business unit number 117008. I just listened into the call and all these performance measures were read into the record. Let's go down to item number 3, goal statement number 3. Submit.
Can you give us one moment to get to that page?
Sure.
Sam, can you just give us, you said 117008?
Yes, Go down to number 3, program performance criteria under program performance measures. The language stated there says quarterly reports will be submitted after each quarter. So when you go to the quarterly blocks, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter on your right-hand side, each of those blocks should have 1111 to represent the language.
Okay.
And then going on to goal statement number 4, again, under the measure, it says annual report will be submitted after fiscal year ends. That one is fine. The first 3, first, second, third, should be in/A, and there should be only one in the fourth quarter. And then down to goal number 5, under program performance measure, training provided to staff quarterly. Again, those should be reflected with first, second, third, fourth quarter with one all the way across. So I like to request to have these corrected and resubmitted to OMB. As a matter of fact, when these were coming through, I think I did the red line, and I don't know if it has been updated by the program. And then I got one other item.
Go ahead.
Business Unit 117022. The data on the sheet is fine, but if you look at your heading under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 program performance, they have program performance area. It should be goal statement on the first line, and then the second line where the second item where it says goal statement, it should be program performance measure. Goal statement first and then program performance measure, because that's what's in the BIN OMB BIN manual.
Ms. Sosi.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, these forms I will correct. In fact, it says they did certify it to say that it was reviewed and it was okay, and there's initials on them. But now we are asked to correct them. But yes, we will correct them.
Chair So.
Go ahead.
Chair So, this is Delegate Paul Begay. We're working with numbers here. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, presenters, colleagues. We're working with numbers and trying to get these numbers so we can understand it. On your program performance criteria that was just brought to our attention, where some of the numbers are not noted. Budget Form 2 of the program performance. I'd like to see a more professional copy. It's pretty faded. It looks like the page overlapped itself or something happened. I'd like to see a more clear and legible page so we can follow a lot better. I believe it says revised or reread or something up there. I'm trying to read a little handwritten note on the top left-hand corner. So just requesting that we have a more clear and legible page we can follow by. Thank you.
Honorable Paul Begay, is that on the binder, or are you referring to what is on the email?
Thank you, Che. I chose to not travel. I travel up there twice this week, so I'm taking it easy at home. I'm following it by the binder.
Okay. All right. Sheila, thank you. I'm on the email that Honorable Carl Slater forwarded to us, and so that one's a little bit more clear. But let's see what we can do particular to that page you're referencing. Ms. Martinez, Ms. Sosi, can that particular page that Honorable Paul Begay referenced, can you pull it out of the PDF and send to Honorable Paul Begay?
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi, and members of the committee. Yes, I can do that. However, there will be changes to this, so I'll do an updated version for the business unit 117008 and also for the business unit 117022. There will be corrections to it. Do you want me to go ahead and email the one that we have now, or do you want the other correction one, Mr. Chair?
Chair, so
go ahead, Trey.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. I would appreciate the corrected version. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Honorable Paul Begay.
Chair, I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Honorable Carl Slater.
Sure. I think if we go back to that page that has the program performance criteria, of course, just lost it right here. I personally would like to see some stronger goal statements and criteria. Let's see here. That's 7001. That's the wrong one. The idea that we should just be okay with submitting reports and calling it a day, I think is bad. We need to have a more ambitious set of goals, objectives to keep pace with the issues that we're trying to confront. And submitting these reports, that for the most part are covered by statute, right? The executive branch has to submit these reports to the legislative branch. I think we should have stronger program performance criteria than just fulfilling your statutory duties. So my request would be to the program to reevaluate the program performance criteria and submit new ones. But to that end, pardon me, I have a question for Ms. Martinez and Ledge Council, and that is when you go to the legislation on the website, you're presented with a wholly different set of attachments, and we have the budget before us. So what I want to know is, do we need to amend the legislation to include this more substantial or detailed budget, or are the items contained within the attachments or exhibits to the legislation sufficient? My concern always is when you just submit some big, large, vague top-line number is that the intention of the committees, our amendments or edits, et cetera, to this document we have before us might not be reflected in what moves on to budget and finance and full council consideration.
Mr. Vice Chair, the legislation exhibits will have to be amended because this is what's listed on with the legislation, so they will have to be amended to be replaced with the updated version, Mr. Chair.
Sheila, Honorable Slater.
Chairman, so this is
Bob Roth. Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Bob Roth.
That is a excellent question. I was hoping it would be asked. So let me explain some process. So what is part of the legislation and will go forth to Budget and Finance Committee is the exhibits that are included on the legislation. Those are at the higher level. That is what you will be meeting with. However, the detailed budget does to the exhibits replaced and such because it is the detailed budget that will be attached to the comprehensive legislation that is in front of council. But so you do need to get the detailed budget updated in those forms as you wish. Detailed budget should match any amount, any changes that are included in your exhibits A through E, which are attached to the legislation. So both are important, but what you'll actually be approving today are the higher level exhibits in the legislation. The detailed budget will be attached to the comprehensive legislation. I hope that was helpful, Chair and Vice Chair. Thank you.
Chair, can I ask a follow-up to our Ledge Council?
Go ahead. Thank you, Ms. Bobroff, for that advice. And then go ahead, Honorable Vice Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Bobroff, so can I just repeat this to ensure that I have it accurately? That any amendments to the detailed budget that we make, those top line figures need to be reflected in the exhibits to the legislation, but the budget, the detailed budget itself doesn't need to be attached to the legislation?
That is correct. Not attached as a particular exhibit, but does move along the process, and it will go to Budget Finance. Then it will go to Council. As far as at the Budget and Finance Committee, it is a supporting document. It's not actually attached to the legislation. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for our legal counsel, legislative counsel. According to Kristen's notes, she has proposed amendment. She said Exhibit F is a made-up exhibit. If the committee wants to leave in this exhibit, legislation needs to be amended to reflect that. And then she wrote out an amendment. Page 2, line 17, overstrike and. Page 2, line 18, delete period after Exhibit F and insert new language as follows, underscore, and recommended carryover amount, Exhibit E. Ms. Barbara, can you clarify that for the committee? Thank you.
Dang it, thank you. I forgot about my mute button. I always have it off when I should have it on and on when I should have it off. But as far as the question goes, as I believe Lowell explained, an Exhibit F, which is included or attached to your legislation, is not an actual DNF or OMB type exhibit. It was something that the previous test committee, I guess, was using, and what it is it's recommending the carryover on the general funds legislation or the general funds budget. As I think Ms. Lowell discussed, there is a pending legislation right now, 011-018820, which comprehensively comprehensively deals with the carryover. But it has not been acted on by council yet. So if you are going to include a projected carryover, you can do that. Certainly not all programs are doing that because that will be handled at the comprehensive budget level if the proposed legislation 0188-20 doesn't pass. So, with that long-winded explanation, if you do want to include Exhibit F, amendment language that Ms. Lowell previously provided, that's fine. Thank you, Chair, and I presume that was Ms. Martinez. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez, and thank you, Ms. Barbara. Committee members.
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi. Can I respond to the exhibit form F?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, the request for the carryover on the Exhibit F, the division, the intention was that we were, this was just a contingency plan, like we indicated, the request for proposal for this telework project that we are working on, everything was completed. However, it was just a contingency plan to say that in case, the timelines of what OOC gives us, if we don't meet some of those timelines because not all staff are back. So that was just a plan. However, after evaluating all what we have in our budget, and now that the request for proposal, everything's ready, we just, Division of Social Services, we are not going to do the Exhibit F. We are able to fund the project with our current year. So we will we are requesting to delete the Exhibit F or withdraw the Exhibit F. Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Ms. Sosi, but the legislation already has that exhibit, so the committee will have to make a motion to omit that exhibit.
Excuse me, Chair. This is Dana again. Your legislation actually does not include an exhibit F. If you will go to page 2 of the legislation, paragraph B, which starts on line 13, page 2, it lists your exhibit, and it does not include an exhibit F, so it is possible for that exhibit, what's labeled as Exhibit F, which just to be removed, deleted from the package. It was really included as informational purposes only. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Bobroff. Thank you for that correct. Committee members, Ms. Sosi, does that complete your presentation on the budget?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
That will be Exhibit A. Committee members, any considerations for legislative concerns, conditions of appropriation? And for myself, Ms. Neswood, Ms. Brenda Sosi, there is an appearance of a duplication of effort between Division of Human Resources and Division of Social Services. One, Workforce Development, and the Office of Self-Reliance. I realize there's two different federal funding sources, but I really feel like there needs to be a coordinated effort between the two entities, and that would be from again. I also expressed that Dr. Celia Fowler at yesterday's deliberation. The second one is from the executive administration. I really feel like there needs to be extra focus. We all realize, and part of the items that are being reported from Health Command is the increase of assault and even domestic violence. And I feel like from the executive administration goals, there needs to be focus on that particular aspect, on how to get the troop within Division of Social Services to really help in those aspects. So how would we best accomplish that? Committee members, do you have any other items that you would want to be addressed while we have this particular legislation before the committee?
Mr. Chair, I have one question. In the
Go ahead,
OMB report, in the OMB report, they list LC number 12. If you go back to your OMB report, Department of Social Services Strengthening Families Program shall develop a plan to include I can't read that. Committee Against Family Abuse in the Kienta to receive a general fund appropriation. If you go back to that page and look at that, is that still applicable? Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Committee members, do you want that to be a continuing item?
Where is that located?
It's in the OMB report that was presented on Monday. And Ms. Martinez, if you have that OMB report, go ahead and resend it. And that way the committee has that.
Mr. Chair, I sent that out at
11:14.
I sent that out at 11:14 a.m.
Okay.
It's in the front of the DSS budget.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Slater, did you?
Yeah, I have the document open. I just would like to know what the page number is.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Page 20.
So this was a legislative concern from the prior fiscal year. Can we ask the program then to respond to this?
Ms. Sosi or Ms. Diana Neswit-Tishi?
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda Sosi. On that appropriation for the legislative, there's a COA that read Division of Social Services, Strengthening Families, Business Unit 117-7001 shall develop a plan to include all shelters in battered women's Center for Inclusion of the fiscal year 2021 budget by the end of second quarter. Okay, we did respond to OMB because of these shelters, the 7 shelters or the 6 shelters that we had contracted with, and under this, they're all funded under the Family Violence Grant, and that's how we do the subcontract. And they're all nonprofit organizations as well. So when this was given to us, we used the budget instructions manual, and it's in there that it indicates that any Navajo Nation grant that is given to these shelters, since they're not, they're 401c nonprofit, 501c nonprofit. So they got to go through the process where the OMB budget instructions manual does address that, where all the Navajo Nation grants will go through them. They have different requirements that they need to meet in order to get the funding from the Navajo Nation. And that was for Twittineshe. I did work with Twittineshe, Carmelia, and the director, and I did tell her about the Navajo Nation grant that's available. I gave her the forms, and she did come to my office, and I did have a discussion with her on how the whole process works. So she took the forms with her, but I don't think, I never received anything back, and I believe she might not have applied for it. So that's how we work with her from social services. Mr. Chair.
Chair, this is Delegate Slater.
Go ahead, Vice Chair Slater.
Thank you. COA 1 says the Division of Social Services Strengthening Families Program shall develop a plan. What was just presented is not really a plan. It was just presenting the budget instructions manual to a third party. And I'm just kind of shocked that that is standard for a quote-unquote plan under the division. I think that we should remove these COAs because nothing happened this past year. They were ineffective, and I don't feel like we have a willing partner in trying to address these issues. So we're just going to create more complications by keeping them in there. And I think Ms. Sosi's points are well taken about there being, external funding that is primarily provided to the shelters, or that's the only funding that's provided to the shelters. But there's been a year to figure out how to get additional funding to them, or to potentially just create that process and protocol so that funding could be plugged in when it becomes available. And an example would have been with the CARES Act funding, that if this protocol had been put in place by the second quarter of fiscal year 20, we could have been able to pump some funding out to them. And instead, we're sitting here trying to invent something or whatever that we're not capable of doing. So my recommendation is to remove the COAs, and we can develop some new ones when it comes to full council. But I still need to know what the reversion port is, because I don't know if we can get an update from OMB or Ms. Sosi if you want to provide that information to us. We're being told about grants that are reverting back to the states, and I'd like to know how much funding might revert back from the grants that go to the shelters as well at this point.
Thank you, Honorable Slater. Ms. Sosi, I guess the original response was you just referred us to a form, but if you could go down that list, the reversion.
Chair, but that's just a listing of the external contracts that they are anticipating funding or have funding for fiscal year 21. That doesn't express what funding they had in fiscal year 20 and what may have been reverted to states.
Okay, I got you. All right, on the 20, you're saying give us a reversion amount from the 20 budget.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Yes, Ms. Sophie.
The reversion report is usually created by the Office of the Controller. That's usually all for the reversions. I know that there's reports that refer all the way back to 2012. As far as for fiscal year 2020, we are still expending that funding, so I don't have no reversion as of right now. Because that the fiscal year ends in another month. So that's my response. Thank you. We have, Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify as well is the federal funding that we received the fiscal year ends September the 30th. Then we have the state funds, which is our Title 20 programs, that had, we just began a new fiscal year, state year, which that started in July 1st. And also we have the calendar year, which is all the BIA and the IHS funds, which starts January 1st and ends December the 30th for 2020. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Sosi. Honorable Slater, how do you want to proceed on that particular item? Do you want to, as you stated previously, just eliminate that from the conditions or appropriation? You want to address it at council, or you want to address it now?
I guess there's two things. The COA would need to be updated to say maybe in fiscal year 2022, that's when the division would be looking at giving or providing general funds or non-externally contracted funds to the shelters. I think we should just delete it. I still would like to do that. I think, with that said, it sounds like these aren't the documents that are attached to the legislation, and this is more of an informal signaling to everyone else as this budget moves along. With that said, there's a lot of other items. Just even on the first page, page 1 of 44, I see a subtotal that adds up to 40.32%. And then we get to page 2 of 44. You go to the subtotal, you have $95 million, and right after that, you have 100%. I don't think that makes any sense because the overall total is below that. And Arizona Department for Self-Reliance FY20, that's for $2,097,972, makes up 56.68% of the total funding, which it doesn't make up that amount on that page and doesn't make up the total amount. And that's not, that percentage is not reflective of the total amount. So, I think there are a lot of things that need to be tightened up in the budget overall, and we're going to have a much more serious conversation when this gets to council. But my request to the program is to fix these issues, make sure all the numbers are correct, the percentages are correct, to get, by working with OOC and OMB, the most up-to-date reversion report back to the committee and to full council, and to come up with more substantial program performance criteria. And I think as a committee, we can make that request to all of the programs, and we should impress upon our colleagues at full council to have stronger program performance criteria. Just submitting reports is insufficient, and nobody wants that to be the only standard or one of the few standards that the legislative body actually applies and tries to enforce within the executive branch. I don't understand how that is acceptable to anyone. Just saying reports. What we need to be doing is creating a vision about where we want to go with our program and then filling in little objectives. Reporting is always going to be there. That should just be the standard for which we understand our jobs and what we understand our responsibilities are. And to have like 2 or 3 under school, it's number 3, number 4. And again, providing trainings, maybe that's good, but that really needs to be in the service of something larger. Why are we doing the trainings and what are they for? I've always found that these sheets are really not good enough, and this was not the year to do it because we're not all together, but next year I'll definitely be trying to amend the BIM to substantially increase the detail and goals, or I'd say efficacy, of these program performance criteria. What we've seen is, I think the program has a 2.15 overall. That's what I'm remembering from Tuesday, and I can't I'm not going to find it. But we know about all of these other concerns with how funding was delivered to the shelters, and that doesn't really seem to be reflected in the program performance criteria. So if that's the case, and if we have the VOCA grant to the state of Utah, $200,000 reverting back, we're basically setting it up from the beginning not to get an accurate and clear picture and to instill goals and objectives that won't actually create any sort of accountability. So that's my request to the program. That's my request to my colleagues. I think, they're just submitting the same general funds amounts, I think, as last year. And when it gets to farther down the line, we can figure out something else on the COAs and working on this overall. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Roxanne Gorman with the Department for Self-Reliance. May I reply or provide some response?
Hang on. Thank you, Audible Slater. Thank you for bringing that up. During yesterday's presentation from General Services, that was also my concern. A goal statement to attend agency meeting. For me, that's not a goal statement, and so in that aspect, in the goal statements that are presented, yes, presenting a report, that's a criteria that's also required of the grant. So to increase the numbers of clients or to reduce monies being reverted back to the funding agencies, that would be a goal statement. But in this aspect, it's just like, okay, let's put something out there, then we can just check off, put an X in the box, a number in the box. And the real part, something that reflects the philosophy of the whole department, not reflected in these goal statements. So that's again reinforcing what Honorable Vice Chair Carl Slater has presented to the committee, and hopefully the division will take that into consideration. Right now, Ms. Gorman will move on without doing a tit-for-tat type of response. Committee members, this budget is before the committee, and how do you wish to proceed?
Chair Winika.
Oh, Honorable Edison Winika.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I have a concern, and it's always been a concern of mine with the Department of Family Services, especially the programs at the agency level. And on the budget form 1, form 2, as far as the program performance criteria, I'm concerned about number 3. It says increase staff skills and performance to assure quality service at all family services office. It's the quality service that's really a concern, because we keep getting complaints, and it says there's goal statement is IDP trainings per quarter, 50 per quarter. If there's all that training that they can provide quality services, what type of trainings are provided that would ensure quality services? The question is, I don't know if this might be outside of the budget process that we need to, I feel we need to meet with the agency officers to get more information. And then the other concern I have is on the employees, the listing of positions. They're all listed on the listing of positions and assignments by business unit. I think it's the third page of the budget. All the positions, and there's 5 vacancies, but page 10 of 10, the program budget summary, there's additional information. I'd like to get clarification on that, where they were looking at their position on A, type of change. It looks like there was reclassification, out. I don't know, that means they were transferred out. There's 4 of those. And there's reclassification on some, and then some of those reclassifications, and then transferred out, there's vacancies on the column F. So, but on the listing of position and assignment by business unit, all the positions are listed with a total of 693,710. But the amount on page 10 of 10 is different. So those are the questions I have. I feel like we need to meet with that program again. And we made some recommendations to the executive director and also to the president's office. And I feel like there's still a problem with that program. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Edison Wanika. Ms. Sosi, regarding the pages and forms that Honorable Wanika referred to and the questions, please provide a response.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, regarding the positions in question on the budget form 3, which has the vacant positions, and also the budget form 6, which is the page 10 of 10. This budget form 6, which has page 10 of 10, which has the type of changes, and on here it does indicate the reclassification and then the transfer out of the positions, and also where it does indicate prorate. For the reclassification, these positions are vacant, and it just indicates that based off of the assessment that was done, by the manager, that these are the positions that are needed. If you see the looking down at the community involvement specialist, it does say transfer. The ones that have trans out, those are being budgeted under the federal funding sources. That's why you have the K count is all funded under, external federal funds. So that's why it indicates that the K count. And also for the reclassification, like I said, it's really based off of the assessment. And what else was the question? Mr. Chair, that's my response.
Sheila, Honorable Wanika, does the response answer your concerns?
Mr. Chair, this is Brenda. One other area that I didn't respond to was why is the dollar amount different? Because the salary amount will be different. Look at the first column or the first row, which has reclass 11112, and then it has, that's the current position right now that is vacant, is the Senior Information Systems Technician. That's at $38,000, but the plan is to reclassify that to the Senior Program and Project Specialist, which is $54,000. That's why the dollar amounts are different, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sophie. Honorable Edison Wanika, does that address your concerns?
Yes, to an extent, but I still would like to maybe as a legislative concern for the program, the concerns keep coming from the agency.
Honorable Wanika, and Ms. Barbara, could you give us some guidance on the aspect of being able to, number one, what still provides some concern for the chair of the committee is just the fact that the condition of appropriation, it just seems like it wasn't met, and it was very apparent from the first 3 years even to now. So instead of making it a condition of appropriation, could we then make it a legislative concern about presenting a plan regarding the what is in the current condition of appropriation?
Thank you, Chair. So the conditions of appropriation legislative concerns included in ONB's report, they expire with the at the end of fiscal year 2020, their tax 2020 budget. So to include them in the 2021 budget, you will need to restate them, and it would be absolutely fine if you wish to change condition of appropriation number 1 from last year into a condition of appropriation this year, or a legislative concern. The conditions of appropriation do have a consequence of not being complied with. That consequence, if I recall, actually don't have it in front of me right at the moment, but generally conditions of appropriation, if they are not complied with by the stated time, then travel funds are restricted, or whoever they were directed at, there is a hold on a portion of their salary. So conditions of appropriations have stronger consequences than do legislative concerns. I am looking at the OMB's report, and it does look like they indicated that the condition of compliance was complied with by the end of the third quarter. They have compliance. If you don't believe that it satisfied what you're looking for, you can restate a new, basically re-add it to the fiscal year 2021 budget as a new condition of appropriation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barbara. Committee members. Ms. Barbara, I guess one more thought, as expressed by Honorable Wanika, is just the fact of the matter that he's of the opinion that we need to meet with the agency staff in this particular discussions of this 2021 budget. Would it be a directive, or would it just be an expression of a legislative concern?
Thank you, Chair. You can do it in different ways. You can list it as a legislative concern if you wish. You could issue a formal directive, would be outside of the budget, or as I said prior, you could redo it as a condition of appropriation. So you do have numerous options.
Okay. Committee members, back to you.
Chair, this is Wanika.
Oh, Priscilla, Honorable Edison Wanika, you have the...
Yeah. Is it possible to do both, to do legislative concern and also do a directive? Because within this budget, that's why I'm saying I'm very concerned about the program performance, where they're saying that to increase staff skill and performance to ensure quality service. And what type of training is being provided? If they're providing the training that they need, then there should be, without question, quality services. So, and the only people that can answer that is at the agency level. So based on the budget, it is a legislative concern, but also at the same time for us to address the issue at the agency level, and that's kind of like going outside of what we're doing. So that will be a directive that we go through that process also. I don't know if that's possible to do both. Thank you.
Thank you. As Ms. Bobroff, back to you again.
Yes, you can do both a directive and legislative concern. Both can take place. The legislative concern was done through an amendment to Exhibit D, which is in front of you, and then the directive would be through memorandum signed by the chair. It should be voted on by the committee as a directive, and it would be communicated through memorandum.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Barbara. Honorable Monica, if you want to put that in the form of a motion, and we'll get a second, and the committee will vote on the legislative concern.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
And then committee members, if there's other items that you want to place on the legislative concern, maybe perhaps we could do it with one motion.
Chair, this is Ms. Bobroff. I would recommend that you could do them all at one motion. I am trying to right now draft some legislative concerns. Actually, I started to based on what you said earlier, Chair. So I could certainly add Mr. Juanica's to my list. Delegate Juanica, excuse me. But I would ask him to restate it, and I will develop legally language.
Thank you, Ms. Bobroff. One Honorable Juanica, that legislative concern.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my legislative concern has to do with the budget process that we're doing right now, and it's in reference to Form 2. It says, let me see, Form page 2 of the budget process on the program performance criteria. Number 3, it says increase staff skills and performance to assure quality services at all family services office and IDP, and then the goal statement is IDP training per quarter, 50 for each quarter. And based on previous meeting with this program, we were told that a lot of them don't go to training. It's just the managers that go to a lot of those trainings, but does not provide information to the staff as far as what the training was about. And so that's the reason why it lists all these trainings. But to what extent or the managers at the agency level attended these trainings, that's information I like to have, and that's my legislative concern. My directive will be to follow through with that by going to the agencies to meet with the staff so that we can get information, so that we can verify the concerns that they have. Because right now, based on the information that we're getting, the manager is not accepting those concerns that are being provided by the agency. And all she's saying is genetic, there's no documentation, and this and that. And we've gone through this, and our concern has always been retaliation and all that. That's what they're afraid of. But when we go to the agencies, it's a lot easier to get the information that we need. Cool. Hey, put that chair.
Thank you, Honorable Juanica. Ms. Bobroff.
Thank you, Chair. I do believe I can that the legislative concern. I also am looking at your budget form. If I'm correct, it is for Business Unit 117022. Am I correct there?
Yes.
Okay. There is also an additional way that you can address that, and that would be to direct the program right now to amend the budget form under, I think we were talking about program performance criteria number 3. I believe I'm following along. You could direct some additional changes to that performance criteria. Right now, if I'm following correctly, it says increase staff skills and performance to assure quality services at all family services office. Then it says IDP trainings per quarter. You could make an amendment, direct an amendment be made to that form, or a change be made to that form to also reinforce what Delegate Juanica would like to see happen. But I probably need a little bit of help with that verbiage exactly to get what Delegate Juanica is looking for. But I can certainly work on the legislative concern, and if Delegate Juanica wishes to change that performance measure, I can certainly help him with that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Bobroff. Committee members, anybody else want to address? What we could do is go in recess to give Ms. Bobroff some time, and then where Honorable Wanika could consult with Ms. Bobroff on the language, if that's amenable to the committee.
I'll be the whole chair for me.
Okay, committee members. I'll just go ahead and take the lead and determine that the Health, Education, Human Services Committee budget deliberations will go on recess for 25 minutes now and reconvene at 1 p.m. So the committee is on recess.
Thank you, Chair. Delegate can either stay on the line or call extension 716.
Ms. Barbara, repeat the number again, please.
7166. So 928-871-7166.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, so we can hang up and be on recess, and we'll reconvene at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Hello. Anybody out there?
Yes, we're on recess till the top of the hour, 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, Delegate Daniel So back on the call.
Schneider, I suggested that you
Hey, sir.
contact Tax and Finance Mel.
Delegate Paul Begay is back on also.
Delegate Slater.
It is going to affect.
Chair, I have Honorable Wanika and Alona here in BNF.
Yeah, so are we back on mute, Leonard?
Okay, we've got quorum, so Mr. Mose, roll call for to establish quorum for the record.
All right, sir. Honorable Daniel E. So.
Here.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater present.
Honorable Paul Begay, Jr.
Paul Begay present.
Honorable Pernell Alona. Honorable Pernell Alona is present. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Liza J. Wanika. Here. Chair, we have 5 members present. Constitute quorum.
Thank you, committee member. So we're back to consider legislative concerns. Ms. Barbara, are we ready? Barbara, are we ready? Committee members, are we still on?
Come on, Delegate Paul Begay.
Okay, I was just wondering if I was on audio.
Yeah, we're on too at BNF.
Okay, thanks. So we're just waiting for Miss Bobroff. Ms. Martinez or Mr. Mose, text Miss Bobroff.
You have a number?
I'm on the line.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Miss Bobroff. Are you still polishing up the language?
Chair, I just emailed and Ms. Marks, I sent an email on what I believe should be the changes to the program performance criteria in budget form 1411172. I can email. I also copied Delegate Wanika and Martinez. I am indeed continuing my list of legislative concerns. One of those reflects what I just did you also. So it's kind of like double that. But I did send you an email.
I'm back on the line now with having no service issues. This is Beverly.
Chair, if the meeting has not resumed, session's not over, I have a question for yourself. I was working on one of the legislative concerns, and that was the one that had to do with evaluating whether the services being provided by my notes. I have provided by Workforce Development, and what was the other program?
Ms. Barbroff, is it okay to proceed with Delegate Wanika's change to the performance criteria?
Yes, Chair, it is. If the email I sent was, or I can read it off, of course. And that would be really to direct the Division of Social Services to update that budget form, get it back so it can be added to their budget book. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Sheila, Honorable Wanika.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and members of the committee, and thanks, Dana, for helping me with verbiage on this. Chair, do I do this by a motion?
Let's go ahead and do it by motion.
Okay, I motion to amend the language for Part 3 program performance for the Department of Family Services. Item 3, program performance area, where it says increase staff skills and performance to assure quality services at all family services offices. I'd like to amend that to say develop and implement individual development plans for direct service staff. That will be the program performance area. And then the goal statement, right now it says IDP trainings per quarter. The amended language will be enhance direct service staff skills through staff training to provide evidence-based and best practices social work at all family service offices. Chair?
Chair Salone, I second that motion.
Thank you, committee members. We have the motion and the second and the language that would be inserted into business unit 117022. Committee members, any discussion on that particular directive? If going once, going twice, 3 times. Mr. Mose, a vote. Roll call vote.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Green.
Honorable Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Honorable Colin Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater, green.
Honorable Colin Slater votes green. Honorable Pernell Halona. Halona votes red. Honorable Pernell Halona votes red. Oh, green. Thank you. I'm sorry. Correction. Honorable Pernell Halona votes green. Honorable Charlene So.
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene So votes green. Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Green. Honorable Edison J. Wanika votes green. Chair, you have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, committee members. Then we go to the legislative concern related to the duplication of services.
Chairman, so I just about read the legislative concerns that I have recorded so far, but as far as the service, I can't read my own notes. Can you tell me what programs they were? Workforce development, correct?
Yes.
What was the other stuff?
And the Department of Self-Reliance.
Okay, I will have that to you in half a second. Sending now. Okay, depending on how fast email is, they've been sent. You will note that there's actually 3 legislative concerns on the list. One of the last one, number 3, is a reinforcement of Delegate Wanika's change in the performance criteria. And you can motion legislative concerns individually, or you can do them as a group. It is at the committee's discretion. Thank you. And those legislative concerns are amendments to legislation Exhibit G.
Thank you. So, Barbara, go ahead and share it with the whole committee.
All right, that I will do. Would you chair like you done?
Yes, go ahead. Committee members, Miss Barbara broke
Okay.
that I had.
I just send the Word document to the committee members, but this would be a amendment to Exhibit D. They are legislative concerns as far as for this Unit 117001, which is the Office of the Executive Director. There would be two. The first legislative concern would be the Division of Social Services Executive Director shall develop a comprehensive plan to address the increase in domestic violence within and around the Navajo Nation. Such plan shall include, but not be limited to, preventive as well as protective measures. The Executive Director shall present a comprehensive plan to Health, Education, Human Services Committee by the end of the second quarter of the fiscal year 2021. That would be the first legislative concern. The second legislative concern also would be for Business 117001, Office Executive Director, and it would state the Division of Social Services Executive Director shall evaluate what duplicate services being provided by Workforce Development and Department of Self-Reliance and report such duplicate services to the Health, Education, Human Services Committee by the end of the second quarter of fiscal year 2021. The Executive Director shall provide a plan to eliminate duplicate services, if any, to the Health, Education, Human Services Committee by the end of the third quarter of fiscal year 2021. The last legislative concern was for Business 117022, and that was for the Department of Family Services. It would state that the Department of Family Services shall provide training agency staff to enhance the provision of direct service through evidence-based and best practice methods. The Department of Family Services shall report quarterly to the Health, Education, Social Services Committee on the number as well as the content of such trainings provided to agency staff quarter. Thank you, Chair. That is what I have as far as legislative terms right now.
Committee, like the committee on two legislative concerns and to incorporate it into legislative 0176-12.
Chair, do we do that by motion? So if that's the case, I'd like to make a motion for
Yes.
concern.
Yes, we would incorporate it with a motion. Thank you.
That would be my motion.
Second, the motion. Okay.
Thank you. Motion by Honorable Wanika, second by Honorable Alona. Barbara, I guess the one that I would be, what if this evaluation on workforce development and Department of Self-Reliance, what if it could be done the first quarter?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it can change the first quarter. The way that request motion party and second to accept that revision.
Honorable Wanika, hello.
Yes.
A request to change the number 2 to, instead of the quarter, to make it the end of the first quarter, where that evaluation would take place.
I'll be
Thank Wanika and Honorable Helona, thank you. With no other discussions, the chair will call for the vote. Mr. Mose.
Aye, sir. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Paul Begay Jr. Honorable Carl Russell Slater.
Delegate Slater Green.
Honorable Carl Russell Slater votes green. Honorable Pernell Helona.
Alana votes green.
Honorable Pernell Helona votes green. Honorable Charlene Stowe.
I vote green.
Honorable Charlene Stowe votes green. Honorable Edison J. Wanika. Green. Honorable Edison J. Wanika votes green. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Green.
Paul Begay Jr. votes green. Chair, a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, Commissioners. Rated into the exhibit. Okay, do we have an item committee wishes to address? If not, we go back to Roth again. Since we incorporated it and the motion to 017 has been to the rec, have to incorporate these as amendments, or since we already voted on them, they're in?
Thank you, Chair. What your act just did, Exhibit B of the legislation, with your vote, they are now, part of Exhibit, and so, I will forward the amendment to, the Division of Social Services, and they will add those Exhibit D and send back a finalized Exhibit D. Thank you, Chair.
And the committee then can vote on the legislation now. Ms. Martinez, please provide some direction.
Mr. Chair, you have a motion,
This
main
conference
motion
has
by
reached
Paul
its maximum duration and will end in 1 minute.
and second by Pernell Halona. Your main motion vote, sir?
Okay. Committee members just got that whisper that was going to end, and so let's hang up and then dial back in.